Hello and welcome back to my channel. This all is still exciting and new for me, so I hope you guys are loving it. Thank you so much to anybody who has watched along, subscribed, shared this on Instagram. Like, it doesn't go unnoticed. So if this episode throws up anything that you think is a conversation that one of your friends or family should listen to, then please do continue sharing it with those that you love and subscribing, because it means the absolute world. Today I thought I would do a little bit of a sit down chat, because I have just gone back into a calorie deficit, and I know that we as human beings are inherently nosy, and I for one know what other people are doing. It's probably why I'm a coach, but I thought I'd run you through the specifics of what I am actually doing at the moment with regards to my fat loss goals and what that's going to look like from my energy, my food, and my training, because I am coming at this is purely for me. This is purely a vanity project. And I know in the world of body positivity, it can be sometimes felt that unless you're in a body that doesn't perform the way it should, or you are in a much larger body, that maybe why should you be dieting? And to give you a little bit of a backstory, I, as a teenager, was obsessed with just being skinnier. Teenage and early 20s, that was me purely just wanting to be skinny. It was the Bridget Jones era. She was slated for feeling like she was being over a size 10. It was the Martine McCutcheon in Love Actually, and you got Thunder Thighs. That was what I felt my problem was. And I, at the time, in my late teens, early 20s, was also dating a woman who was 5'4". She was dinky. So me at 5'7", although I would like to point out I am actually closer to 5'8". I was recently measured. I'm taller than I have ever thought I was, which is pretty cool. Felt like a She-Hulk. And I think I said in our first vlog, if you like, that I've always felt like the bigger friend, like a bit like Man Mountain-esque. I spent the bulk of my 20s trying to shrink myself. I worked with coaches. I did a lot of diet phases. I used to not eat when I was heartbroken, like did all that kind of fun stuff. And when I turned 30, I committed to stopping that. I was committed to the fact that I didn't want my 30s to be a whole entire other decade full of me just wanting to be smaller and smaller and smaller. And when my relationship broke up, my engagement broke up in 2017, I did dabble. There was a lot of girls in my gym who were competing. They were doing the bikini competition. It was pure elite. Honestly, I think like half the pure elite category used to train in my gym. And I watched all these girls and I was like, they're getting smaller and smaller. And it was when my awareness of like bodybuilding as a sport really, it came out. And I, number one, was entertaining having a boob job. I regret not doing that back then, but fine. And I was entertaining the thought of competing. And I was heartbroken at the time. I wasn't eating anyway. I lost about 6 kilos inside 3 months. And I was like, do you know what? This could be something that I do. Thankfully, fell out of that just as quickly as I thought about it. But the world around me was full of a lot of women who were getting very lean. And I was like, yes. And I fully picked the coach that I then started working with in 2019, because he had posted a picture of another one of the girls who trained at my gym. She was doing like a swimsuit competition. And he posted her photos. And this is how like, my narrative and my view was very obsessed with these teeny tiny petite little women. I think I mentioned again before, as a teenager, I'd get questions of, oh, do you swim? Do you play rugby? I've always had broad shoulders. And even kind of back then, obviously my upper body is weirdly bigger now, but I still felt like I had that much more physique. So my whole view, I'm being brutally honest, which I'm going to be here, my whole view was about being skinnier. So that took up so much of the narrative of my 20s that I committed to not doing the same in my 30s. And I actually took a good couple of years away from actively pursuing fat loss. I stopped tracking. I ate more intuitively. I trained how I wanted. I had worked with a coach for 2.5 years and I like stopped progressively overloading training plan. I just went into, I'm just going to do things that make me feel good. And it was like my way of control. And I over the years, quite a warped little view of calorie counting and some obsessive tendencies. And I just, like, for my relationship with my food, relationship with my body, like I need to not be doing this. And I think it was exacerbated as well by the industry that I work in. We are very image obsessed. Anyway, skip a few. I didn't then diet again until 2023, where I dieted for about 4 months prior to birthday, going on holiday. I had like a few weddings coming up, and then I spent a month in Spain later on that year. So that was like a proper time that I had pushed for fat loss in a good couple of years. And I think I did it in a way that really worked for me. And then last year, didn't do great at the diet front. So I've kind of around the 76 to 79 kilo bracket for the last few years. So this is kind of where I'm coming at it from. I'm coming at it from the perspective of, I have been your classic diet every January. 2019, 2020, I spent the bulk of both years dieting, only really kind of coming on maintenance for a few months at a time, and then back in again. So I recycled the same amount of weight for 2 years running. However, did also change my physique because I was really into my training. This now is coming off the back of a pure vanity project. I have been sitting between 77 and 79 kilos successfully for the last couple of years. From a physique perspective, I can tell that I look different. This is the leanest and the tightest I have ever looked at nearly 80 kilos, which I do sit there and sometimes I'm like, yeah, woo. But I'm like, oh, I feel a bit better than this. And it is a pure vanity project. I do not need to do it. The only thing that's harder at the moment for me versus when I was kind of end of my most successful fat loss phase in 2023, where again, for context, I only went as low as 24.5 kilos. So it was 74 and a half at my lowest point. Prior to that, when I worked with my coach, I'd get down to 72. And I always wanted to get back into like 68 to 70. Never made it. It was, for various reasons, I just think too lean for me at that point, considering I've come from dieting to 63 kilos. But hey, we've got muscle mass now and I've got an ass, which is excellent. So again, just contextually, I don't know. I know a lot of people, whether weights and metrics are relevant, and no, my scale weight is not relevant to anybody else. However, I've spoken to a lot of like my clients who are in the 70 kilo bracket who had this like hyperfixation with getting back into the 60 kilo bracket. In fact, maybe if you're 70 to 80 kilos, maybe even 80 to 90, like you're bigger. And again, I do kind of want to challenge a little bit of that now, because I am not short. You know, it's all well and good being a 5'2" who is 48 to 52 kilos. That's fine. The same as if you're 5'4", maybe your weight will be somewhere in the high 50s, early 60s. But if you're my height, you probably shouldn't be 50 something kilos. You might not even be comfortable being 60 something. And again, I'm kind of advocating for, dare I say it, that like mid-sized galley who is weighing a little bit more than mates and wants to become okay with it. And if I can help anybody feel a little bit more okay with where their scale weight is sitting, then do you know what? I would consider that a job well done. So I'm going to kind of talk about it in the context of this. So at the moment, I'm on a quest to lose 3 to 4 kilos inside the next 6 weeks. Because I have a cast about, it is 6 weeks. It's 6 weeks until I turn 35. Which, can we discuss 35? There is something, I was dying to turn 30. I was. Me and my cousin are the same age and she was not enjoying the thought of 30. I was like, get me out of my 20s. Just get me out. It was a whole life lesson. I had been broken beyond belief. Like, it was just a whole thing. I was like, I want to ever have to do this decade. Give me age, give me wisdom, give me something new. But I will say, there is something at staring down the barrel of 35, knowing that my next big birthday is going to be 40, and that in like 7 and a bit weeks time, 6 and a bit weeks time. So what we now? Friday the 17th of April, as I record this, my birthday is the 28th of May. Like, in a matter of weeks, I'm going to be closer to 40 than 30, and I'm still waiting for the penny to drop of when I'm going to start feeling like an adult. Like, doesn't matter I've got 2 businesses, doesn't matter that, you know, I've been self-employed since I was 22, 23. I own a house. I'm like, when do you start feeling like an adult? If anyone's found that out, like, genuinely message me, let me know. But anyway, it's project 4 kilos, 3 to 4 kilos by the time I turn 35. If I do it, I am not going to be beating myself up. But a little bit of a shorter time frame might do me wonders. And so we're going to run through what the hell is going to be going on. First things first, I will admit I have gone back to calorie tracking. I said I will admit, like I'm going to be like, oh, I'm using drugs. I'm not. I have gone back to calorie counting. Not obsessively. In that, I mean, as long as my big stuff is okay. Yesterday, I didn't finish tracking the whole day, but I'm relatively, again, with years of experience of calorie tracking, you can kind of pick your battles. So haven't kind of up about it, but I am calorie counting. I have set my target, close your ears if you don't want to know about calories, to 1500 to 1600. And if you've ever worked with me, you'll know that I'm a big fan of a calorie range. And the reason I am a fan of a calorie range is too many people fuck up their diet success because they believe that it is one number. And if they go over that number, then they might as well have just fucked it and blown it and, you know, 1,550 calories is basically the same as 2,000, and it's not. So I give my clients a range of calories to work with, normally a 200 calorie range, sometimes 100 calories. So I've said I want to be between 1,500 and 1,600 calories. That's my range. You might look at this and be like, that's low. I am a notoriously slow responder. I've done this for years. My old coach had me on 1,250 calories. Like, I am a slow responder. The thing that I did with my last coach, Luke, who I work with, if you know him, he's an absolute babe. And now is I've added more cardio and more movement. So in 2019, I got to a point where one of the most my cardio got was 1,250 cardio a week. So I used to train 5 times a week. So I used to do 5 30-minute blocks on the cross trainer, and that roughly helped me hit my 1,250 target calories. It is a lot. The reason I also think this context is important, and one of my friends, Crystal, who's an amazing online coach, she also has quite a lot of cardio in her protocol, and her calories are like mine, like they're down the lower end. I actually won't, I'm not going to tell you her calories are lower than mine at the moment, but she's dieting for a photo shoot, so it's a bit more aggressive. But I really like knowing what her cardio is, because I always resented how high mine needs to be. And again, I just say this from the perspective of if you are somebody who literally does like no cardio or like 2 lots of 20 minutes a week, you're like, oh God, this is so hard. Like, I'm doing so much. I'm not shitting on you, but I just want you to also see that, like, when you see people's before and afters or their results and stuff, what some people do have to do. If you do have to do that, then that is awesome for you. The same as if you get to diet on 1,800 calories, then like genuinely like thumbs up. I love that for you. I'm like a person. So my step target is 12 to 14,000. I'm pushing for a minimum of 3 cardio. So I do have Peloton, bougie. One of the best things, like I used to run it, and genuinely 2023 was when I was running the most. Like, that is one of the only things that was easier then, was I was a much faster runner at 75 kilos than I am at the moment. And I'm also out of practice. But back then I was doing 2 to 3 trainings. Oh, that's the door. Oh no. Well, that was every driver. That was the protein powder. Yay. Look at me being all on it. What was I saying? Cardio output. Okay, so yeah, cardio for me does tend to be quite high. In 2023, I was running 2 to 3 times a week, maybe even doing a couple of spins. This time I can't commit like I'm gonna go back to running. I have so far, so we're 5 days in to the effort. I've done 2 30-minute and 1 20-minute spins. So I'm trying to keep 3 in, 4 as a bonus. I want more 30 minutes than 20 minutes, but we'll see. If I have to get more pushy with it, then I will. And that will be like absolutely fine. So calories are in, steps are in, cardio in, and then training wise, I've kept it the same. So I do 4 days a week. I train back to back. I do Tuesday through to Friday. That just works for me. I'm an early bird. I train before work. Like, that's the way I'm doing it. I think that, like, God, it's hard to know as a coach, like, what's helpful information and maybe what's harmful for some people. But I don't do my nutrition any different to really than I do my clients. Like, primarily whole foods, lots of lean proteins, lots of fiber. Personally, tend to have the same breakfast most days. So I do my baked oats. At the minute, I've got banana and dark chocolate. Banana and dark chocolate baked oats, which basically, I have like 3 portions of fruit on my breakfast. I'm big on volume, big on fruit and veg. And for me, like, I push my breakfast back. So I rarely eat before 10:30, sometimes 11, which does mean I train fasted. And I like that, for me, works nicely. I don't really see a downgrade in like my output. I've been training fasted since I'm in Manchester. So since last May, and genuinely, I'm no weaker than I was when I used to train at 11 a.m. and had breakfast. Like, for me, because it's early, I don't suffer. I drink nearly a litre of water whilst I'm training. That for me works. If I have a dodgy day, then I have a dodgy day. But I will normally eat breakfast between 10 and 10:30. So I do reduce my eating window. And again, that for me just means that it's like fewer to split the calories into. I used to eat smaller meals. That worked really well. When I was back as a full-time personal trainer, I'd be on the gym floor from 7 a.m. until mostly 7 p.m. And I think because the day was longer and it was wasn't a lot more physically active because I movement now, it was just different. And I think it broke up the day. So I had like, also like, if I was going home for dinner, if I finished work at 8, dinner would be at 8:45. So I wouldn't want anything massive. So for me, that worked. back to more like 3 meals. And again, because I reduced my eating window even, so breakfast is between 10 and 10:30, lunch is normally around 1-2 o'clock depending on how hungry I am, dinner's normally around 7, but I will always leave a little bit of leeway for some form of snack. So, you know, if I need like some yogurt and cereal and to then do my spin after work, like I will do that, and that is absolutely fine. I'm quite a fan of similar meals. The only one varies is dinner. But again, me and my partner, like, we get into a bit of a routine. Like, there's certain dishes we will do week in, week out. So I make a chili most weeks, or a curry is the alternative. I prefer the chili, just because the beans really great fibre. We do a sausage gnocchi with low-fat Cumberland sausages. The Tesco was so good. Not an ad, obviously. Although if Tesco did want to work with me, that'd be awesome. So we do that. Gnocchi's great. If you don't know the role of potatoes in any form of fat loss phase, like, so much better than rice, pasta. You get so much more for your calories, and gnocchi is just incredible. I basically have salad or veg with every single meal. So some nights, like if we're having chicken, he might have rice and veg. I have chicken, salad, and a veg bag. Like, I go all out on volume. My lunches and dinners, depending on what I'm having, can often be lower carb in the traditional sense of carbs. Like, I have my baked oats in the morning, and they are a bit more carb heavy because obviously they've got the oats and the banana in. But lunch will just be chicken, sausages, salad, and a veg. Like, if I've got some leftover like Mediterranean veg that I've roasted, it'll be that. So it'll be like no carb in the sense of no rice, no pasta, no potatoes. But then I will have either more carbs of my evening meal, or I might have some like yogurt and cereal as a snack before I do spin. And that's the way that I tend to do it. Like, I do think utilising your carbohydrates around your training is, number one, super beneficial. Nobody will argue with that. But also for me, from a cardio perspective, it does make life a lot easier. But also, I say this through the lens of somebody that actually does genuinely love fruit and veg. I know I've got a lot of clients for that. Like, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. But I think something, I guess if you take away one lesson from this vlog, it seems weird calling it a vlog. I feel like I should be a bit more like Molly May, like changing locations and roving around, but I get easily distracted. That probably wouldn't work so well. Like, there, literally lost my train of thought. But like, I'd say volume. Like, I think what most people think is like adding a portion of veg to your meal. I have seen thousands of diaries over the years. Like, I've been coaching for 10 years. I've seen thousands. The sheer small quantity of veg I see people eat, like, I will have 3 to 4 portions with most meals. Like, I'm a big volume girl. I basically will do, with no shame, I'm a pig. I fucking love food. And by the way, I don't say that to like be degrading about myself. I love it. I'm eating. I love all foods. I like a lot of food. So for me, I couldn't go low volume because I'd be starving all the time. I'd be absolutely fucking miserable. And I'm not exactly, you know, cheerful princess all the time anyway. So God help I was programming for them on little to no food. So that's the way I'm setting up my fat loss phase. I'll be honest, I don't really use calorie calculators a lot. They all spit out that I should probably be eating 1,800 calories whilst on a diet, and that doesn't work for me. That has never worked. And this is one of the things I think it's really easy for you to get bogged down by. Oh, well, this calorie calculator said that I should be eating this, or, you know, the age old like, oh, I'm in a calorie deficit and I'm losing weight. Like, your body is the most accurate calorie calculator you'll ever go. So if you are sticking to your calories and like you can say, I am sticking to these, and you're not seeing weight come down or your composition change or your measurements aren't coming down, then I say this with love, you're not in a deficit. So it doesn't really matter what a calculator spits out. Like, you have to work with the individual. And if you hear that, my boyfriend's on the spin bike, so I'm really sorry if the audio picks that up. He doesn't sound like he's having a fun time. I might go in a minute and ask him if he's having a heart attack, but I'm sure it'll be fine. But like, you do genuinely need to go based on, I give clients ranges. I will always say, like, this is your starting range of calories, but I can't promise I'm going to take these down. The same as, you know, my steps are 12 to 14,000 at the moment. Oh God, like, I can barely do 8. And it's like, well, number one, I have to find avenues. Like, I think some people look down on coaches to be like, oh, well, you're paid to be in shape and you work for yourself. Like, I work 10 hours most days. Sometimes longer. Mondays I start at 6 and either finish at 6 or I finish at 7:30 depending on calls. Yes, I go out and go for a walk at lunchtime, but it's like I will then eat faster and like get back to work. I do have to figure out these days much more you guys in a corporate job, and I think because I work for myself and most of the stuff you see will be me sat in this space, it's easy to think, oh yeah, you've got all the time in the world, but this is a push, and like I do have to find time. There is a reason I'm up at 5 and I'm in the gym for 6. It's because if I don't do that, then I wouldn't get all of the shit done that I needed to. Now, obviously, yes, I am blessed. I don't have children. I don't have to worry about pets, all of that stuff. I do have fewer demands on my time. But again, like this is my life choice and this is what I'm choosing to do. So we're going in for 6 weeks. The starting progress shots are taken. I might drop them in here. This is what we're dealing with, and it's game on for 6 weeks. So if anybody else is dieting at the moment and they do fancy a bit of extra accountability, please do feel free to message me. But I just thought maybe it'd be helpful, that's interesting for me to give an insight into what I, a fitness coach, I am doing in order to shift 3 to 4 kilos over the next 6 weeks. You never know, the update in a couple of weeks might be like, oh, I've had to drop my calories again and I'm a hungry little bitch. And you'll probably tell by me talking about topics like this. But the aim with this channel, as I said in the first video, is to continue adding value, explaining nuance, talking through evidence-based practices, talking through the shit you need to know, cutting through the bullshit of what is out there with regards to the fitness industry, and giving you a little insight into how I do things and how I run things with my clients. Because you never know, you might be like, I want to work with her. You might not, and that is absolutely a-okay. But this is what we're going to be doing, and all I've ever kind of promised to like my clients is I'll just be open and honest and super. And this is what we're dealing with. So the aesthetic diet is game on, and then I might extend it after my birthday. Again, full transparency, I have no holidays booked yet for this year, so might extend it, might not. Might be like, okay, that's me done. I'm likely to up until kind of early July, but we will see. And then I can walk through what I'm doing from a maintenance POV, I guess. How exciting. Anyway, I'll close it out here. If you do have any questions, all my contact details are in the show notes. You can message me on Instagram. You can catch up on the pod on Spotify. And yeah, I'll be back next week to dispel some myths.